is preparing to go live. And I guess we'll give it about, I'll just start running my mouth and we'll give it a few minutes. But before we do that, I'm gonna pull this
your little link or whatever.
Yeah, pull this link in case somebody says, got it. In case somebody says, Brother Asad, we want to jump on.
Yeah.
All right.
We want to jump in.
Oh, wait a minute.
Uh-oh. Doing all these windows and tabs.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Let me see.
Good grief.
Let me see.
We do this every time.
Every time.
Every time we go live, it's like, wait, hold on. Sad.
It takes such preparation for it.
Have you tried StreamYard before?
Yeah, no, I haven't. I've been on somebody else's StreamYard, but if you got to pay for it, I don't want it. I already paid for the Zoom.
It's okay. Well, it's actually free. You have the free. You only pay for. You have options to pay for. More. I guess more options to have your little personalized logo at the top. But I use StreamYard. It's completely free. I don't pay for it. I'm like that too. I already have too much to be responsible for. I don't need another little piece of subscription. So, but yeah, StreamYard is also really good too. Yeah.
I think
I might have to try this Zoom thing one time, see how it works.
Well, Zoom is all right. Yes.
Yeah, Zoom is good right. I usually would do Zoom for like if I don't do some type of FaceTime, if I'm working with like someone with mindfulness or the practice that I do. But for live stream, I've never done it, so I'm interested to see.
Bam. All right, I just put the link in the description, and we about to get started.
A few times.
Yeah, but I got it saved as a thing,
Oh, got it.
Got to say there's a click. So, all right, family. It's your brother Asad.
Hey, y'all, I'm Adrienne. Y'all know that.
And we are back again with another quick live. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And I want to take a moment and talk about this like, commenting, and subscribing. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Like, comment, and subscribe, and share. Share with your cousin. Share with your mom. Yeah, share with your people. Like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notifications bell so that you'll be notified when we drop new material on this channel. Secondly, in terms of housekeeping, I got to give a special and a significant and a particular and a peculiar shout out to my South African family for all the love you guys have shown this channel. My wife, my children, myself, we greatly appreciate it. Third, that's it.
That's it.
That's it in terms of housekeeping.
It's live.
No. It's live. It's live right now. Now, I just let somebody else in. Ryan.
Right. You might have to hold up. Introduce our lovely guest.
Right. Hold up for 1 second. We're going to introduce our lovely guest. He must be jumping on trying to shoot a shot.
All right. We didn't even tell y'all she was single or anything.
No, right.
Jumping ahead of yourself.
So this sister is a phenomenal content creator. I've learned today that you don't say YouTuber. That's
Right.
I'm a content creator.
An artiste.
I'm a regular person.
And my wife has actually been following Queen Key. Like I don't know how it popped up on my thing. Oh, Queen Key commented. She said one of your followers said to look for you, and I went to her page. I said, oh, she's a traveler too, and she's from the States, and she is in SA. So we're going to get to know her and learn about her Johannesburg and South African experience, but also the various other places. She's been in Central America, right? Central and South America.
I've been to North America, Latin. I've been to certain Caribbeans as well. Barbados. I've been to the Virgin Islands, the Bahamas, Puerto Rico, Mexico.
Definitely.
In that area.
Let's start off with these questions. Some of the basic stuff. Let's get the basic stuff out of the way. Where are you from?
Right. Who is Queen Key?
Who is Queen Key? Where are you from? We know we associate geography with philosophy and personality. So where are you from?
Wow. Well, my name is Kiara. I go by the Queen Key. That is my channel. And I am originally from South Florida. I'm from Broward County, Miami-Dade, Broward County. So 954 305. Yes, that whole thing. Born and raised. And nothing special there. Yeah. Family's still there. Most of them, South Florida, Georgia, Alabama, that area. So originally my ancestors or my I guess you could say I'm fifth generation or fourth generation of they're from South Carolina. So originally, like my great grandma and everybody. So yeah.
All right, South Kakalaki. All right. So so I'm from New Orleans. We be asking people like, what school do you went to? But that we talking about high school. I wouldn't know what high school you went to. So what university? Did you go to university?
Yes. I'm a double alumnus from Florida International University. So I studied. There. Yes, I got both my bachelor's and my master's in communications and research. So yes, love Panthers. Go Panthers.
All right.
That's in Miami, correct? Florida International? That's what I thought. Okay.
All right.
Yes. Hold on, Ryan. Hold on. We're coming.
Ryan look like he on the
keep working on your game.
Yeah. Hold on, Ryan. Ryan, are you on the how train?
Hold on, we go.
Well, we'll come to you. Yeah, we'll come see you.
For sure.
So Queen, now I perused your channel a little bit, and I see that you have been to different places. Now, my question is this: what makes a single sister decide to move around the world by herself? Because most people will say, "No, that's dangerous. You need to go with your girls. You need to have your old man or your somebody with you, a companion or somebody." Why would you decide to? And I'm sure, tell me what your mama said. What your mama said when you left.
Well, I'm 33, so my mama ain't got too much to say. I am grown. No, I'm kidding. No, well, I'm a military veteran, so moving around, I don't even live in that frequency, of fear. That's very low vibrational. I've always been free spirited, and I've always been my mom's most brave and adventurous child out of two older sisters. I am the youngest. So I would say what started my travel journeys. Well, I was traveling back. I was married young. I was in the church young. That was a lot of my life. That was probably the biggest part of my life, and a lot of different traumas I went through and transitions and, overcoming things. So yeah, I started traveling back when I was younger, when I was actually married. But my solo travel started, of course, after the divorce. People who know me from my channel, I dealt with a lot of different types of, abuse and things from the church, as well as my ex-marriage. That's why I had to leave that for, my health and my safety and things like that. There was a lot of, obviously, domestic violence, and I went through a lot. I went through a lot of change. I went through a lot of transition. I had to go through a lot of healing. I plead insanity. I don't know why I joined the military. Don't ask me. I don't even like to tell the story because it was supposed to be actually the Air Force. But I ended up, because I think they were going through a command change. So it was going to take a while, and not having any patience at the time, I ended up just joining the Army. And so I did that for a little bit. And I got a lot of, training there. I got a lot of experience. I went through even more things there, just my life unfolding and going through many different traumas and healing and realizations. And one of the things that I did once I was out of that toxic union was I started traveling. I really don't know. I think I went to the Virgin Islands. That was my first place solo, as a solo female traveler, even though I had been to other islands and places before. And I kind of fell in love with that. It was very liberating. It was very healing. I was able to be in solitude and be in isolation and just be to myself and learn myself. And that's kind of how that started. And so I started traveling from there.
That's profound that you mentioned that the traveling was associated with healing, because often the question I ask someone that has experienced trauma, are you wounded or are you scarred? Because wounded is an active, right? It is a current condition. You bleed now. but a scar is a reminder that you have been wounded, but that you are able to heal and overcome. So your scars become beautiful reminders of your own strength, you know? So the Virgin Islands, are your people from the Virgin, your daddy or somebody from the Virgin Islands?
No, I just wanted to go, pick a place. I picked a place and I went.
That's very
I
free
don't,
spirited.
And
yeah.
so how did you end up?
No,
No,
go
I was
ahead.
going to say, how'd you end up making the decision that you were going to travel to Africa, right? Because
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
of course.
the
Well, yeah,
Caribbean's
that
heavily
took some time. That took some
right,
time.
right.
Actually, while I was still in the military, I ran across a channel. Now, as a matter of fact, it was before I even went to the military. This was right after I had left that union or whatnot. So it was still some time. I was working in the education field. So I was actually teaching fourth grade children in South Florida. Whew, that was another experience. Because I actually started off in a support role and I was working at the front office because I got hired by the principal who used to be my third grade teacher. So I went from doing like administrative work and being in the front office and helping out with administration, to getting hired as a fourth grade teacher because I guess they saw how well I had classroom management. I was able, in Florida, you don't have to have an actual degree, even though my original degree was communication. You didn't have to have an actual degree studying education if you had a certain type of degree and you were willing to go get extra certified. And from there, they teach you the things you need for the classroom. And so with my education plus, getting certified in a few things, I was able to teach. And so that was definitely an experience. And I knew then that I loved kids and it was great, but I knew it wasn't something that I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And I really was still like finding myself. And so Africa actually came up because while I was teaching, I ran across a beautiful sister who I love so much. I'm just so inspired by. She is such a beautiful soul. We have a lot in common. I resonate with her because we both have communication backgrounds. We both worked because I worked in Miami at a news station, WSBN Channel 7 News. So we both had these backgrounds, and she also taught, but she was teaching overseas in Namibia. And her name is Kaylin. I'm sure you know her channel. African American in Africa. And so it was very inspiring. I had no idea at the time that a person could teach overseas. Like I didn't know there were so many opportunities in Africa because at the time, what the media presents, it was still very ignorant. I was still very ignorant to things, where I didn't even know that Africa was as developed. They got water. Do they eat? Just real ignorant. Just not. You would think, even a person with degrees, you would think, but we just wasn't well versed, and just listening to the media. And when I ran across her YouTube channel, it just sparked my interest. I had no idea. I was like, I can do that. I should be doing that. Oh my gosh! And I followed her story, and it was just beautiful. I never followed through with it at that time. But I ended up, like I said, going to the military. And then it wasn't until around the end of me knowing I was getting ready to get out that I started to converse with a lot of my Nigerian brothers and sisters and Ghanaian brothers and sisters that was in service. Like I would make them come out to dinner with me, come out to lunch. Hey, come tell me about Africa. Tell me what it's like. And, and they were like, oh God, here's Samuel. She want to talk about Africa, and when they are like excited to be in America. So I thought that was interesting that I was trying to go to the motherland and they were kind of happy to be in America. And so it was very interesting at the time, but that's how my love and my interest for Africa kind of started and wanting to, migrate and travel. And so I did that once I got out. I wasn't supposed to go until January of 2021, but I ended up leaving October of 2020 because that's just how much I felt my spirit was calling me. And it was a divine timing with everything that happened over a course of 8 to 9 months traveling. It was just beautiful. I had citizenship. I met very phenomenal people, renowned people like, I met a guy named Kunga who has a farm in Kenya and just a very brilliant man, meeting people like Pia Lola Mumba and other, content creators. It was just a really beautiful thing. So that's what kind of started me with Mama Africa and the travels. So.
All right, sister, I just want to give Ryan 1 second. Say his phone is about to go out.
Oh, sorry.
No problem.
Hi, everybody. I'm Rion.
Rian. I said Ryan. I'm so wrong.
No problem. It's a different accent. I'm originally from Zimbabwe. I've been living I am actually living in the Netherlands for the last 20 years. But I'm planning to move back home to Southern Africa. So it's in the planning, but I wanted to be back home a long time ago. So
Yeah.
I'm just making my steps to get home back home. Trying to work my steps there.
Yeah, it took us 400 years to get here. So I know it may take so I
You're
know it
doing
may take
well.
you some time. So take your time, plan, and come back home. That I'm sure you have picked up on many experiences and a lot of knowledge in the Netherlands that you can use in Zimbabwe, that you can use here in South Africa, that you can use in Botswana, or Namibia, or Zambia, whatever part of Southern Africa you decide to settle, man. So, yeah, make your way back. I know we ran into a sister who was in Scotland. Am I getting it wrong?
Yep.
Scotland. She ran into a sister who had lived in Scotland for 15 years. And we ran to her here and she said it was time to come home. She said she was watching YouTube videos and she said, man, I've been away from South Africa for 15 years. And she was like, there's too many people heading there, too many people who are inspired to be there. It's time for me to come home. And she,
Yep, she's making that move.
she's making that move on that midnight train to Johannesburg.
Well, the plan is to be there in a couple of weeks. Come back and visit a family in Johannesburg.
Okay.
And I got family in Durban as well. A lot of family in Southern Africa, all over Southern Africa. Here, Botswana, and Zimbabwe, of course. But I am planning to come and visit, hopefully in the next couple of weeks. Just trying to get my things settled down. And I hope to meet you guys when I get down.
Definitely, brother.
That'd be great.
Holla at us when you get here.
And I make the comments on your channel, and so I'm 123MS. So if you see 123MS, it's me.
Okay, I got you, brother. I got you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, brother.
Yeah, it was me that made the comment about Dr. Boyce and the Professor Mark Lamington.
Mark Lamont Hill. I saw that comment trying to get more of them here.
Yes,
Yeah.
we need to get the intellectuals back, we need to and start getting, the connection over, bringing the businesses, the ones that they don't have, bringing them back, bringing those skills, those critical skills that we don't have.
Definitely. Only thing I'll say to that is push back, and then we'll get back to the Queen, is that I think there's the genius here. I think the genius is in South Africa. I think the genius is in all of these Southern African countries. The genius is already here. I think what the African Americans can bring is maybe that dollar and some investment because of that 1-to-18 ratio right now. Yeah, bringing some investment, but the genius is already here. The intellectual capital is already in South Africa, and I'm confident that South Africans and Zimbabweans and all of these people have the ability to assess and solve whatever problems that may face them. And African Americans can play supportive roles and roles of getting in where we fit in. But if we were great at solving problems, we would have solved the problems that we got in New Orleans and in Atlanta and in Houston. But brother, thank you so much for calling in. I want to make sure we give the Queen her time to shine. All right, peace, brother.
Right.
So Queen, now what was the first country you went to?
In Africa, Tanzania.
In Africa, I mean, yeah.
Tanzania. Or Tanzania, if you can say
it okay, because I was confused. How you said it? Say it again.
I say Tanzania because I know a lot of natives who speak it that way as well. I just like to pronounce the word, the letters the way they are.
Tanzania?
Or Tanzania.
I've heard it both ways. I've heard it both ways. Yeah.
All right, so you were in Dar?
Yes, I was in Dar es Salaam. I was in Zanzibar. I spent most of my time in Arusha. That's where my apartment was, my first apartment lease. And I spent some time, I went to Mtawambu, which is not far from Arusha. And I spent some time in I think it's Ungaroni, which is in the Kilimanjaro region. So yeah, just traveling around Tanzania, just beautiful. I absolutely love Tanzania. So
yeah, it's a beautiful country. How long were you there in total?
about 5 months, I believe. Wait, no,
Yeah.
3, 4. Yeah, about 4 or 5 months total. 5. Yeah.
All right. Did you make it out? You made it. You said Zanzibar, right?
Yes, I spent some time in Zanzibar. Yeah.
All right. Did you go to that park that I don't know if it's Fortalani.
Forodani.
How you say it?
I believe Forodani. I think it's
That's
Forodani.
That's where they had they were grilling fish and
all of that meat, all that meat and
yeah,
stuff out there. Meat. Yeah. But they have other foods and stuff out there that, you know, I was able to get into. I was told not to. My Airbnb host told me, don't do the seafood, don't do it, just in case. And I was like, and being that I'm 90%, I'm like mostly plant-based. You know, at that time I was like 100% plant-based, but now I'm more so 90% plant-based. So there, you know, I did find some things out there that I could do, whether it was like roasting vegetables or they, you know, I may dibble a dabble, you know, a little bit, just because when I'm traveling, I want to get the full experience. I may not indulge, but I do like to experience, you know, if I taste it. So yeah, I think Forodani was where they had all the meats out there. They, you know, it seems like a little night festival, I think it was.
I loved that. I loved it. It was just, you know, I had a little drink. They made a little drink out of like sugar cane.
The sugar cane. Yeah, I had that. Yeah. It tastes like a lemonade or something. It's really good. Yeah.
I went home and tried to make it in New Orleans. I was in the house mixing honey and everything. But look, so now that if you are 90%, 95% plant-based, I know Johannesburg has to be rough because they love their braai, they love the red meat, the lamb chops, every you know. So how are you getting along in Johannesburg with your diet and your dietary restrictions?
Well, I cook my own food. So, or maybe I'll order something from like Uber Eats. Like today I ordered something from Uber Eats. They have like vegan options, but being that I do, like I said, I like to indulge in a little bit of seafood from time to time. So that's not so bad. I may not be into the pork and the chicken and the beef and all that stuff, but yeah.
Okay.
That's how I've been doing it, you know.
Mm-hmm. So now this is not your first time in South Africa, right?
Correct.
What led you here the first time?
Well, I was still on my journey at the time. And I just it was so funny actually, because it was supposed to be Nigeria. And I was actually weighing my options. And I knew I had been in, you know, I knew what it felt like to be in like the rural West and East African countries. And so I was like, you know what? People have said a lot about Cape Town and, you know, they've compared it a lot to the US. They've talked about how nice it was. I heard it was the winter months at this time. This was like in May of last year. So I was like, you know, I would love to experience a little bit of cooler weather because all of the African countries I was traveling, I was like, you know, it's kind of hot. So I was like, let me see how different this would be. So I was actually, you know, kind of battling between, should I go to Nigeria or should I go to Cape Town? And I was like, well, in Nigeria, at least I'm going to be visa free because by the end of this month, I'll have my citizenship. And, you know, now I can travel visa free in all West African countries. And the flight was cheaper. And, you know, because I think my flight to Cape Town at the time was like almost $1,000. But I was like, I had to look at it as an investment because I really felt like I needed a break. You know, I wanted something a little bit more stable when it came to, because I felt like the electricity and different things was more stable. I knew I would get something a little bit more modern by going to Cape Town, because this is when I was just starting like some online work that I was doing. So I just had to weigh what was important to me and what I wanted to do. And I said, you know, I can always, you know, head back to, you know, go to Nigeria at a later time. So I just ended up in Cape Town. And I mean, I absolutely loved it. It's so beautiful. Like Cape Town is just stunning place.
Oh, absolutely.
And you reminded me, so you ended up going to Sierra Leone, right? For a short bit, or no?
Yes, because I had to get my citizenship. So yeah.
How was that process for you? Like, We see it happen like online, but I think you're probably the first person we've interviewed that actually went through and got citizenship in a country. So what was that like?
You know what? I started that process when I was still in Tanzania. I started that actually, yeah, I would say maybe even Kenya, because I read my results in Kenya. And that's when everybody was, kind of leaving comments saying, hey, this is who you need to get in touch with. They're giving away citizenship. And I was like, okay, just relax. I'm going to figure it out. And so I ended up emailing a few people, and I probably got the process started in December as far as reaching out. If anybody's familiar with PLO Lumumba in Kenya, he's a very, renowned man.
Absolutely.
And so it was actually PLO who came to me, and, he was like, I have someone for you. I was like, okay, because I interviewed him as well. He gave me the name of someone that works in his foundation. He has different foundations in different countries. So the young lady who works at the PLO Lumumba Foundation in Sierra Leone, I was in contact with her. She works close with government officials as well. And I just did my letter of intent. I gave her whatever other documents she may have needed. And that was pretty much it. She handled it from there. And by the time I got to Sierra Leone, I think there was only just a few more documents that I needed DHL from my family, which was the police report, which was not really a police report if you don't have a record, because I don't have a record, but they just need to see that you're, upstanding citizen in your country. So I think that was the only thing. And then my live birth certificate, not the rectangle one, but the live. And I think those are the only two documents that was needed. And then I had 2 letters of recommendations from a dean and from one of my, I think it was my chief back when I was in the military, chief. So they just need to see recommendations. They need to see that you're an upstanding citizen, so you have a clear record. The regular, they want to see copies of your ID and different things. And then when it comes to pricing, it's different if you're going through a tour company and you're actually touring with them. Being that I'm a solo traveler, I just found a company, just to say, hey, I just need to use you guys to do this. I don't need to tour with you because I tour by myself, and so they were okay with it. And it turns out I knew the wife. I did an interview with her because she's a real estate agent in Sierra Leone, and it was her husband's business. And she was like, oh, my husband, he can do it for you. Hold on, so that's how it worked. It was, I have to say that I was in a pretty privileged position because I just had everybody, they're helping me. Not everybody may have had that as a solo traveler. I think you probably would have had to go through a tour organization for that. So for me, it seemed fairly easy because I had state house officials and, people working in organizations like, just give us the stuff, we got it. And then I paid my little fee online. I paid for the passport as well as the service of the VSL I used. And that was it. And I just had to show up where I needed to show up. So.
Okay.
No, I just want to say we got a lot of comments going on here since we are live, and I just want to run through a few of them to see. A lot of people, not brothers, I'm saying a lot of people are giving you love, saying hey there, what's up? Somebody said hit that like button. That's right. That's shout out to African Queen Giselle. Hit that like button.
Giselle.
Yes.
Don Parker, our message. Don Parker said, my crush is finally in South Africa.
Oh, no.
I know he ain't talking about me.
Yeah, I think they talk about you, Asad.
Huh?
They talk about you.
I'm sexy and everything, but goddamn. Yeah, I ain't nothing wrong with that, but that's not. I'm married.
Oh gosh.
All right. Somebody said, "Stay strong, sister." And they got the black fist up. Well, actually, it's a white fist, so we need to
But you know what they mean.
We need to right. I have been following Queen Key for a while. This is my partner, Josie Gold. I'm glad she's back. Josie, I want you to know I did get that email. I just hadn't had a chance to respond, so I need to respond to you, brother. But I did get that email. African Americans and I never you heard of.
Oh.
and I think she slowed down.
Yeah, I think
Oh.
I lost you guys for a moment. Sorry about that.
Oh, no. That's our internet over here.
Okay.
Oh no. Oh, there you are again. Lord, this internet
Okay.
is a mess. Yeah, the African Americans in Africa channel where she was posting quite a bit, and then life took over at some point and she slowed down. But yeah, that was a great
No, yeah,
channel.
she has a daughter now, so she actually has a
Mhm.
second child now. She did an interview with Ward and Maya. But yeah,
Yep.
one of the things I love about her, which is why I feel we resonate so much, because I'll do the same thing. I'm quick. I have a very love-hate relationship with social media, and
Wow.
there is nothing to me more valuable than my actual real life. You know, I
Yeah.
choose to share parts of my journey with my royal family, and they know that. You know, and I want to continue to share parts so they can see. But at the end of the day, you know, real life is here. You know, being in the present moment, you know, it's important. So, but yeah, she has a wonderful channel. And she's you know, she's doing the family thing now. She has 2 kids now, so, and her husband.
Yeah.
Oh,
She's
yes.
living her life.
So you about to ask another question?
Well, I could go on. You know, I've never been to Sierra Leone, of course, but I know they're one of the only countries offering citizenship based on DNA. But I'm wondering, would you ever consider moving there permanently now that you're a citizen?
Well, yes, I mean that's the plan. I'm just traveling around right now, but yeah, Sierra Leone is home. You know, I can't wait to get back and eat me a big old bowl of crane and some rice. Yes, I'm ready. I had a wonderful time. I had a nice little, you know, found me a nice little apartment. It was really nice. I had kind of the rig. That's why I feel like I had such an unfair advantage. I had you know, I'm talking about airport managers. I had people there. Like I actually got favored, I feel, because I was telling them, oh, I'm Mende and I'm here for, you know, the citizenship. And don't let them be Mende. And then I tell them I'm Mende. It was like, oh, come on, sister, we got you. And it was like, oh, yes, you know. So it was just such a beautiful experience. I felt like it was like a red carpet rollout. And I know a lot of people don't have that experience. They kind of have like probably more of a rough experience. I guess getting in Sierra Leone and, you know, their own opinions. But I had an amazing time. And they are one of the countries right now that are giving them out, you know, with the least amount of, I guess, requirements, meaning the biggest thing, you have to go through African ancestry. I think that's the more preferred DNA testing company. So yeah, the process really isn't that hard. You just make sure you know, you have the right people in your corner, and you know, and usually the tour organizations, they'll do it. They'll handle all the paperwork for you and tell you where to be and what to do. So yeah, it's a beautiful place.
I wanted to ask one question, but we'll get back to the Cape Town visit. Would citizenship in Sierra Leone, you got to pay taxes over there? Like, are you required now to pay taxes?
So during the workshop, they tell you you don't have to pay taxes on anything. As far as a business goes, well, say I start a business. If my business isn't making money, I don't owe anything. But if your business is generating funds, yeah, you pay tax. But it's not even, it's nothing. It's not worse in America. I can tell you that much.
No.
You know, you're not looking to get robbed. It's not like that. But during the workshop, I was very shocked. I was very surprised at the information they were giving regarding people who wanted to start businesses or be a part of NGOs, or you know, they've given so many different resources of what construction company to talk to if you want to get your house built, or, you know, different things like that. It was wealth of knowledge and information. So yeah, it's not difficult at all. I didn't, you know, everything seemed very simple if you just follow, if you went, you know, go to the right department and you talk to the right people.
So back to Cape Town. How long were you in Cape Town your first visit?
I was only in Cape Town for a month. And I was actually supposed to leave and continue to travel. I actually had things planned and paid for, which is insane. And I tell my subscribers this. So, and I heard your wife say it as well. And I said I would explain this as far as why I decided to not continue my travels and head back to the States. Well, two main reasons. One, a situation I don't want to tell regarding my mother and my grandmother and health situations where whatever my spirit was leading me to make sure I went to go see my mother and grandmother. I didn't want to not see them if something happened. And then I regretted that decision because it actually had been a while, because I went from military to living in Dallas to, upping and traveling. And so it had been quite some time. So that was one of the reasons. And then I think the biggest reason for me personally was I was starting to feel a little bit ungrounded. I was starting to feel, and I'm a person who I like to do things with intention and purpose. And although it was fun, and I was sustaining myself very well, there's no problem for me to travel financially or anything like that. I just really felt, what am I doing? And I think getting my citizenship, it did something to me as well, because it's like, okay, now you're a citizen of a country, of an actual African country. And I actually went to a few provinces while I was there, and it just blew my mind. And I met, I have a video on that as well, where I met some people who are said to be my relatives, to have my great grandfather and my great 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 grandfathers from South Carolina, their surname. And so meeting them and seeing how they live and seeing the things that I wanted to do and getting inspired and feeling this sense of responsibility too, because they were kind of looking to me, and I left money, we all left money, the government officials that were there, we left them a bag of money and everything, but it was like, oh, gosh, I want to do more than that, like this is supposed to be my blood, I want to get to school over here, I want to fix the church up over there, and different things. And I felt this sense of like being overwhelmed, with emotion and responsibility, probably more than I should have put on myself. But it just, traveling Africa just wasn't traveling Africa anymore. I felt this, like it felt different. And so I did start to feel a little bit ungrounded. I didn't just want to travel aimlessly anymore. I didn't know what I was doing really, or, okay, so what do I want? Where do I want to go? What do I want to do? And so while heading back to the States to figure that out while visiting family, I decided to take a much needed break, because I had been doing a lot, and traveling during COVID was not easy. I was always getting my throat and nose swabbed and paying for this and doing that. It was really a lot. And so I don't know, there's really not a deep reason other than just needed to be in solitude for deep spiritual reasons and even more healing that I didn't even know. And I had a chance to visit my mother and grandmother and make sure they were well. And yeah, so I did that. And it turns out that instead of staying for like maybe just a few months in the States, I ended up staying. I just got me an apartment. I said, I'll just do this year and we're going to revisit this, and I'll be, even more balanced, as far as my perspective on travel, and I'll have more of an intention and a goal on what I want to do and how I want to do this. And so because of that, now I know I'm here permanently. I know what I want regarding family, as far as now I want my own family, and, how I want to build on the continent, and not romanticizing either, because now I have a very balanced perspective. And I have a video on it. I have a video on my channel called, I believe it's called What's Next, or Where Have I Been? Africa Travels, What's Next? That'll explain everything. It's not that deep. It's really not a deep explanation, but it is what it is. That's what it was. So
definitely. I'm just letting the people know I'm putting the link in the chat there. And if you want to jump on and maybe ask the sister some questions, I don't know why it's acting up. Bam, there you go. And you want to ask the sister some questions about her traveling and her experiences. So so you go back. When did you go to Latin America? Call it that.
Well, I went to Mexico. So this was the plan. I left July 25th of this year. And I actually just left my apartment, and I made sure everything was squared away, but, I was still paying for certain things. It's complete now, thank God. But I was like, I just need to get out of here. There's no need for me to just be sitting here, and so I wrapped up everything with my job at the high school I was working. Whatever retirement funds I had, got that up out of there. I did everything with intention and purpose to say, this is it. I felt like I was given another opportunity. I was able to sell my car again and get positive equity. It felt the same, but it was different. It felt like 20,
just like that. It felt
like 2020, but and I was like, oh, I see you. I hear you go. Okay, good. So I'm out. And I left and I went to Mexico. I went to Guadalajara, Querétaro, and Mexico City. And so I just, I said, I'm going to start off slow. I'm going to start off where I'm not that far, just in case, my mom, because she has a heart condition.
Mhm.
And so I didn't want to be too far from her at the time. I just wanted to give it some time. And I was also supposed to be leaving Mexico, going to Costa Rica, Jamaica, just traveling in that area down there. But before I could leave Mexico, there were some earthquakes and there was some activities going on in the tropics with a hurricane that tore up Cuba and Jamaica and then Florida. So I was like, you know what? I think let me meditate real quick. So, and I ended up just, changing my travel trajectory to Africa much quicker, much sooner than I thought.
So what made you say, I'm going to Johannesburg? You just close your eyes and say, bam? Because you
say bam.
Yeah, I mean, because you have citizenship in Sierra Leone. You could just be like, well, let me go to Sierra Leone.
Well, you're right. And that's the thing. I can't. And when I go, I can stay forever. I knew that I didn't want to go back there yet. I'll go back, obviously, eventually, and, get my place, get things set. I already have someone there in a place there that, squared away for me when I'm ready to drop my stuff and, just chill and be home. Not everybody has that option. So yeah, Sierra, and that's the thing, I'm grateful to be able to take advantage of the fact that Sierra Leone's still there. And, I have that. But, I did meditate. I actually it was either I had a certain options. I did a poll on my community tab. So it's either going to be South Africa, Rwanda, Uganda, and I forgot the fourth, maybe Nigeria I put there. And so I was really thinking about Rwanda. I really want to go to Rwanda, but I said, you know what? Let me, I feel like this is a second chance as far as like everything happening so smoothly. It's not that this wasn't going to happen because I was planning to, finish my travels this year, but the way that it all happened just so seamlessly. And I said, let me finish what I started. Let me go ahead and just, pick back up where I left off. And so I said, well, I've been to Cape Town. Let me try Joburg. And Joburg was going to be the next place that I visit after Cape Town before I, head out to my next country. So that's what I'm doing.
So now, how long have you been in Johannesburg?
I've been here since the 8th of this month. Yeah, I got here very, very late, but it took me at least 4 days, maybe 5, to get on Joburg's time. So
yeah. So what have you experienced in the city so far? I got a series of questions, bam, 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 just like that. So what have you experienced so far? What are some of your likes here? And what are some of the major differences that you see between here and the other places that you have visited, including your experience in the United States?
Whew. Well, I haven't been to very many places other than like the market, and I traveled around a little bit around the area of the museum. I went to the Apartheid Museum, and that was really nice. My experiences here have been, it's different than what I was told. I was told, it's really dangerous, be careful, the crime rate is really high. And even though I believe it and I was told it, and of course, you just, you be mindful of your surroundings and have situational awareness. I feel as though my Uber drivers, everybody's just been really helpful. Everybody's been actually really sweet. I had my Uber driver, I love to get air. I don't like having the windows up, and he rolled it up, and I just looked at him, and he was like, "You're on your phone. I'm going to roll it up until we get on the highway." And I was like, "Oh, wow. Thank you so much." Because I wasn't paying attention that we were just, rolling slow through the street, and I just had my phone, out, and just people looking out for me. That's what I've experienced from the family that I live here with on this compound, to Uber drivers, to people on the street, to the workers, the people. It's just been beautiful. Like, I've had a great experience. I feel safe.
Yeah, I tell people South Africa's greatest natural resource is its people. They are welcoming and loving. But I know we've been on this thing for about an hour, and I forgot to do this. I gotta give a shout out to the couple that I was with today. They're from Florida also, Queen Key. I don't know if they want me to shout their name out, but I will say they brought me some Tony Saturates. They brought me 4 bottles of Tony Saturates. I gotta make
We
sure
were
I shout
begging for
them out.
that.
Shout, you know about Tony Sat? They have Tony Saturates in Florida.
I don't know what that is.
Oh my God.
Is it a sauce? Is it a drink?
It's a seasoning. It's a dry seasoning. You
Oh,
sprinkle it
now I
on
see
your.
what you mean. Okay. At first I'm like, I don't know if he's talking about like a drink because you mean it's in the green, it's in the little green
Big
can.
old
Okay, yeah.
factuals, yes.
I
Big
think
old
it might be your
factuals.
accent. Your accent at first, I'm like, is he talking about a drink? Because I don't drink. I don't know.
I don't drink alcohol.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm saying Tony Saturates. That's the way we say it. I don't know what it is. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Or
You know what's
Saturates.
funny? Just the seasoning in the green can. I don't even think the only thing I know by name that my mom made me always pick it from the store is Obey. So.
Oh yeah. We don't use no Obey. No, we don't use no Obey. It's Tony Saturate or Zatarans. Zatarans. That's
Yeah.
all right. So it was, but as she was talking about the love that the South African people have shown her, I remembered that, and then I remembered this brother came all the way from America and brought me some Tony Saturates because I asked about it. So shout out to him. And the other people that said they're gonna bring it, y'all can still bring it now. Don't be talking about when he said got 4 bottles. No, come on. But so okay, that was the first question I asked you. What have you experienced so far? The second question, what are the things you like so far about Johannesburg? Bam.
I love the weather. I think the weather is nice. I think it's peaceful the location where I live is very quiet. I live somewhere near the observatory is what they call it, the golf course. It's just really quiet here. And I'm still learning the areas, but I love the people. I love the vibe. It's just it's much more urban than Cape Town, so I like it. It's very nice. So.
I like Cape Town too because I know they always be like, "Oh, you chose Josie," but what you said is true. It gives you American metropolitan area vibes, like urban vibes. Johannesburg does. All right, now comparisons. The third one is the comparisons between the other African places you traveled as well as the Latin America. But really, we want to know the difference between the American and Johannesburg.
The differences I've noticed.
Yeah, like some things you might have picked up on.
Well, she only been here really 8 days.
It's I always say, on my channel, I love to be in a place where everybody look like me. That's the difference. That's a really big difference.
Right.
Yeah.
The culture, I think that no matter how modern an African city, or town becomes, you're in Africa, because like you said, the people. And so that's the difference for me is just the people, I would say that the people and the vibe, the culture is very rich. And so that would be like,
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah. I want to ask you this question. We got another person just jumped on. KT, can you hear us? Okay, KT gone. All right. Shout out to KT. Yeah, bam, just like that. This question came up today. I was talking with the brother and the sister, and this is something that my wife noticed, Ashley in Africa noticed. I want to talk about femininity and its expressions in Africa versus its expressions in the United States. Have you noticed any difference? Let me let KT in the meeting. Mm-hmm. So have you noticed any differences in the expressions of femininity, Black femininity?
I want you to clarify that a little bit more. Are you meaning women being able to be more expressive or independent? Explain to me a little bit more clarity on your question.
I think what I have noticed, my wife noticed, and Ashley, my wife had this discussion.
Yeah, we did.
Is that I don't know, girly? Is that a way to say it? Is that because that's I'm not that smart, so that's the way.
No, I know what femininity is. I mean, when I hear that word,
I'm saying like the women here are more feminine, like more feminine, like they have.
Okay, so that's what you're asking. Are the women here more feminine?
Have you noticed anything like that?
You know what? I have noticed my travels around Africa, even in Cape Town and even here with the women that I met so far here. I feel like I met a variety of women. I met the ones who are still more, maybe, how can I put it? They're the ones that are more subservient, that they're submissive to whoever their partner is. And then I have met a very strong, independent. I don't want no man, and I'm not looking for one type of sister here. I met solo travelers here. I just met a sister who we're going to do a live stream as well. And she has an impressive story, and she's a solo traveler she's a continental African woman. And she doesn't have kids. She's not married. She's not being, as far as feminine. I hope I'm following you. I don't know.
I think I didn't explain it right, because I'm not like, it ain't even about, like, to me, ain't it even about man, or even definitely ain't about being subservient to no man. There's because that kind of makes femininity seem less powerful than it is, because femininity is actually strong and it's powerful.
Absolutely.
So that's not what I'm talking about. Subservience to no man. I think it is I don't know, it's mannerisms, it's ways of responding. It is
okay. The women here are gentle, they're nice, they're gentle, they're sweet, and they're friendly. And definitely match my vibe. They're not like high strung or loud or whatever the perception that people may have of like the Black American woman or things. But that's what I've noticed. Very soft spoken, very sweet, very mild, very gentle. Those are the sisters that I've met. But like I said, I also met some I think the dinner I had here the first night, I met a woman who her personality.
I met some turned up South African, male and female, turned up. And we gonna turn them all the way up.
The most turned up I've come across is some Nigerian sisters.
Oh, yeah. Ain't nobody more turned up. That's how we know we descend from West Africans. Because they ain't turned up. KT, you here?
I'm here, family. How you guys doing?
What's going on, brother?
I'm good, guys. Can you just hear me though?
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool. So, as I said on the chat, like, okay, I feel like I'm missing all these memos, and I come in and you guys are live, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what's been happening? Or like, I love it. Like, okay, I'm feeling left out
Press
now.
that notification button.
Like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you'll be notified when we drop new material on this channel. No, but this was, let me tell you, brother KT, I was going to record this with the sister. Then I said, you mind going live? We get more interaction with the community or whatever have you. So it was kind of very impromptu that we decided to go live or whatever have you. So I don't know if there were any notifications sent out, because it was just like,
I actually had a specific thing I wanted to say until you guys were talking about femininity. And then what we all need to realize is how we would okay, what happened? Okay, cool.
I was turning to him talking about, see what you started.
No, like, and I understand where you guys are coming from. And there was also, and there might still be a level in South Africa where femininity had to take form and look different when you're talking about the white gaze, which translate to when we talk about the angry Black woman or the angry whatever, or how a feminine Black person had to navigate what we call quote unquote the general gaze, where it's out of our community had to look like. Whereas I have had women, when you grow up, you have women who embrace every single aspect of themselves and enjoy their softness. But Western world will go like, you are being stifled, you are being crushed, you are not being independent enough. Whereas if you were to look deeper or look within, you actually discover that they actually have a space on the dinner table. Like, they don't have to be loud for them to be recognized or be seen or anything like that. And I've seen that from my grandmother, who did not even understand anything, but they always, I remember my grandmother would be a woman alone in a community where you have chiefs and you have and she's one of the advisors. But she still had her femininity and everything like that. She doesn't have to scream as a black woman or show herself in that. And I think that's what you guys have discovered, and I'm finding that out when it comes to that. Maybe I hope I'm explaining that right.
I think you are, because when you said grandmama, it reminded me of my big mama. And there's a song by Bill Withers. Y'all know Bill Withers? And his grandma's hands clapped in church on Sunday morning.
Oh my gosh, I know the song, but I don't know the artist. Oh yeah.
Tambourine so well. Yeah, that's a strong woman, right? There's a strength there, but it's not an expression of strength that is filtered through masculinity. It is an expression of strength that's filtered through her divine feminine nature, right?
Thank you.
But I don't really think that's what I was talking about when I was asking. I think some of the women just
yes.
Let me, if I could interject, as to why I think when just the word femininity alone, and sorry if I did not, like I said, follow your question completely, but in this day and age, this day and time, I know exactly, who I am. I stand in my own power as a divine feminine energy that I know I am, that I've been working on to be who I am. I've had to transform, I've had to heal and do a lot, but just that word alone, femininity, it's very broad and general or generic. And it can be interpreted in so many different ways. It can be, analyzed and expounded upon in so many different ways, especially in this generation, in this day and time that we're in. So the first thing that comes to someone's mind when you say feminine, I'm just gonna, think the first thing that comes, especially when it's being challenged so much. Especially when you want to talk about the Black woman and the Black man. I know it has nothing to do with the man, but I'm going to say it because the Black man is very much still a part of the Black woman. And I feel like femininity or, divine feminine energy and the strength that we want to, use, interchangeably with the word femininity, it is being challenged and we are not being supported and it's being demeaned and we're being called masculine women when we do, try to embody a strong femininity or show what that is and how we can help and empower, our mates and vice versa. Mm-hmm. And so that's probably the first thing that came to me and what my experiences are with it here and how I view it here, my experiences from it in America as well.
So I think one of the problems is the language, the nomenclature, the lexicon that is used to describe the relationship between male and female. And it's often described as, the opposite sex. And the root word of opposite is to oppose. And the Black man or the man and women, male and female, man and woman, they're not opposite sexes. They're complementary sexes. COMPLIEMENTARY. They complete, not complement, or PLEMENTARY. So that it's not like I'm complimenting you. Oh, it's a matter of completion, right? Yes. Meaning you complete me in ways and I complete you in other ways. It's like nuts and bolts. Like, a nut is not the opposite of a bolt. I don't know if that's what they call them in South Africa, but in America, it's a screw and the thing that go on the back of the screw, right? Those are not opposites. Those are complementary pieces. Mm-hmm. You can't have one without the other. And when they come together, they form a strong bond, a strong union that can erect a house and let a house stand for 100, 200 years or whatever have you. So part of it is understanding this language that we use that puts each other in this kind of opposing position, and just a lot of stuff going on the internet that it's just a lot of noise in this space as we talk about Black masculinity and Black femininity. I'll say this in terms of Black masculinity in South Africa, what I've noticed. It is a vastly different expression than the general, not all Black men, Black American men, but the general expression of Black masculinity in America can be seen as a range from hypermasculinity to toxic masculinity, right? We have been filtered. Oh Lord, that's a fly in my house.
Welcome
later
to
they came to
Summer in
clean up. She opened the
SA.
doors and the windows. But anyway, from from hyper masculinity to toxic masculinity, we have not our masculinity has been filtered at least for the last 20 years. So I'm not talking about these old brothers, right? I'm not talking about the
Mm-hmm.
old gays, but
Mm-hmm.
the last 20 years through the prism of hip hop music. Rap music has taught us how to address women, how to express as men, and much of that is hyper masculine, and much
Can
of it is toxic. Right.
can I say something there?
Yeah.
When it comes to that, from my getting filters or getting from your Hollywood's version of America and everything what that was. But if you look at femininity through the white gaze with white women and how they've handled things, whether you're talking about the South or wherever, how the rich women have always done that. And then you look at the behavior within Black communities and how we view and see things. Okay, my point is this: how we always try to dissect and always try to look at each other when you're talking about femininity or whatever. We forget that the scuffles that we have is that there was a third party involved with every single thing. Even now, when she was saying, like, when she goes like, okay, when we talk about femininity, these are the defense things. The reality of it is how we are, from us Black men being toxic, whatever it's gonna be, how we have been structured on how we are, is because there's always a third party involved. There were chess games and things that put in how we define each other. And if something was strange, was shown to be seen as less than or not supposed to be like the other or anything like that. So whether you are in the US or you are with us as people of color in the diaspora, how we've always defined ourselves and everything like that, there was a third party. There's a third party that involved, like, no, how you guys are viewing each other, like, nah, that's not gonna work. And then we were put on a totem table, or like on a totem pole, where Black men had to fight to try and be at the top of, and when they couldn't be at the top of, how they got the aggression out was the only person that they could try and control was the Black women that they had. And so it was always like, even if I know for sure that Black women were always at the bottom of the temple, whatever we're gonna say in anything. So if a white woman cannot be a secretary or cannot be whatever, it's either gonna be a Black man or a Black person lost, and the Black female, the Black woman was gonna be an afterthought, always been. And now we have to reconstruct all of those things, and we forget all of those constructs where there was always a third party involved. It was not us, it was everybody involved.
I think that's a very important, Queen, I'll let you respond to it too. I think it's a very important point that you're making, is that our, as particularly as African Americans, our definition of just about everything is in comparison to whiteness, right? So because of our condition, right? Because of our condition as a minority group in a society that is majority white, right? So we define everything as a response to whiteness, right?
Can I come in from that? Sorry to cut you off. Actually, it goes into what I wanted to talk about. When you say we are responding to whiteness, and I think what we need to realize is whether you were born in Japan or you were born in Russia or you were born in the Caribbean, you were born in the US and in Africa, there has always been that force and whatever shaped it on going through. And I remember I was watching Jay-Z, and I don't know if it was who's the comedian?
Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart.
Yeah, I saw that interview.
And from that, when he spoke about having a fast forward button, and I took from that in my own that we're each other's fast forward button. And I think that's why in 2020 and 2022, there are still misconceptions about Africa.
Yeah.
Because you find somebody working in corporate or trying to develop themselves in the US, but you have to mold, you have to bend over, you have to calm yourself down. You have to shape yourself to walk into whiteness for you to be successful. And when you think you're successful, you actually have not been, you've only entered one door. But if you were to meet the African side, you meet each other, then you don't actually need the white gaze.
Right.
I think that's the issue that we need to come together on, that we're each other's fast forward button, where they have had hundreds and thousands of years where they have to do things for each other. If we were to meet up, you'd be surprised how fast we actually progress together. And I think that's the biggest fear that they have. The fact that Africa is, you still get those perceptions that there are flies and all that ish, but when you enter a plane, plainly and simple, you are the only person of color on the plane. Where's the rest of the white people going? Where are they going? If it's that bad, where are you going?
Right.
And I remember I think I was almost spamming you guys to this. When I found out you're gonna work at Vets, I was screaming, like I was loud, I was happy, I was so excited. And a part of me still hopes that even you doing researches, you end up in classrooms where you are now lecturing and all that ish. Because I remember there's a documentary called The People versus the Rainbow Nation. I think I have gotten into that. And I wanted you guys to watch that documentary. You guys had an interview with a family where they were explaining themselves. We were like, no, we don't hate each other. Where I think you were at, I don't know where you were. It's like a week or back. It was a mom, a dad, and a kid were there, and education. And you're talking about how the conditioning of how you have to, be quiet, have a way of speaking, talk to yourselves, how to act in whiteness. Actually, I'm not even gonna decorate how to act and behave in whiteness. Why I wanted you guys to watch the documentary The People versus the Rainbow Nation was the government versus the students saying they want free education in post-apartheid South Africa. It's not necessarily the politics for it. It is the young minds where they call each other activists, and you see all of this and that. But it's the next generation of blackness, of black youth, and even people of other colors go like, no, this is wrong. We're not gonna put up with this. We are gonna go with whatever. It's that kind of thought where the fact that in 2022, African American families have to have a conversation with a black kid and say, like, I may have a squeaky voice, but I'm huge. But then my parents need to have a conversation with me on how I should behave if I'm at Rosebank, if I'm in Senton, if I'm in anywhere, how I must, if the police come in, I must not talk my mind because I must survive. Guys.
That's a powerful point, because I call it a shrinking of yourself. You can be a big person, you have to shrink yourself in order to fit into these white spaces. But I want to get Queen Key to respond and give her thoughts. And then I see the brother Losey jumped on, and I know he got Losey and Josie. I think they brothers. They might not even know each other, but I think they're brothers. But go ahead, Queen Key.
No, I have nothing to say. He said a handful. And I agree with a lot of things that he said. I resonate with a lot of things that both of you guys said. So, yeah.
Definitely. Well, I don't know how, Queen Key, we supposed to be talking about their experiences in South Africa.
No, look, I'm having a good time. We chill. We vibing at this point. Let's keep it going.
Let's facts. Brother Losey, what's happening?
Oh, good, brother Asad and Adrienne. How are you guys?
Good, we're good.
Peace.
Oh man, Josie Gold is a brother of mine. You know? He's a brother. Yeah, plus
Definitely.
I'm Josie, he's Josie. It's just slightly different of the first letters.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, interesting conversation. I've been listening to you guys for a while, and to the Queen KI, then my sister from Sierra Leone who's in South Africa now. Good to see that you're in Johannesburg now. Look, I would say this as regarding to the current landscape of African men in general, masculinity and all that. I think it's very complex and it goes very deep because we're no longer in our systems anymore. We have tapped into something that we don't even understand, and there's a lot of frustrations that came with that. But so far, I think for what we're going through and what we have to deal with, what we're up against, I think as people we are doing the best we can, and we're not doing that bad. I can't see other groups if they were like at the bottom of food chain like us really coping, because I mean you have to consider the fact that we know who sits on top of the food chain now currently, the global system, but at the same time they've been waging wars for how long? Now, if the people who control almost all the resources are killing each other every day and fighting, even their tribal wars, they up there. Imagine what they could have time to be if they were. Hello, hello, brother Asad, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you very well.
Hello,
Yeah, I can hear you.
can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hello, brother Asad?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. So I was just trying to say that. Okay, thank you, brother Asad. I was just trying to say I don't see other groups surviving if they were in our position, where literally black people are at the bottom of the food chain and we're still coping. We're going through something as people. We're going through our tribes and tribulations, but we still stand and thrive. Other people that actually control all the resources of the world, they waging wars. They fighting tribal wars among each other, but they probably control the richest banks in the world. So imagine if they were in our shoes, they would be eating each other now if they were in the position of black people. But my point is that we are going through something. Our African systems have been interrupted. The systems that we had, and I believe they were advanced. I was actually studying a history of where I come from personally, which is it's in Limpopo. We were under the rulership of Queen Mujahid, which we were led by a woman for centuries. So their system was very advanced, and the system that they used is that the queen will actually marry women. She will marry women, but mostly she will marry women from her cousins, their uncles' daughters. And the system they used there was not necessarily that the queen has to inherit the bloodline. It was very, very complex, and it wasn't a system that was gender-based. We could have a king. Sometimes we used to be ruled by a king, and then sometimes it would be a queen, depending on who the ancestors call into power, into reign. So I'm just basically saying, black people, we know we are the ones who have to fight the hardest fight, but we are still holding on each other. Whereas other races are still waging wars among each other, even when they've got all the kind of resources to themselves. So that goes to show that it's not that bad, although we have got things to fix among ourselves. We have to work on ourselves, but we're not really doing that bad as we would like to report or believe. Like, for example, if you look at the data of in America specifically for black people, black fathers are more involved in their children than other groups, even although you still have got a crisis of single motherhood. But the ones that are in relationships and committed, on average, they're more involved in the lives of their children than the other groups. And it just shows how strong our culture is. That's something they couldn't erase throughout all these years of exploiting the Black Americans there and trying to erase your culture. You still had to hold on with what you had. So I'm just that's what I'm trying to say. I'm saying we're not doing that bad.
Right, facts. But we got a lot of work to do. Even though we're not doing that bad, I think we have a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
And I can't speak from the South African perspective. It's not my position nor place. I can only speak from the African American perspective. We have a lot of repairing to do, both as men and then as women, and then as men and women attempting to come together. But I do appreciate your point that like they use language like, oh, Africa is going through tribal wars, as if World War II, World War I were not tribal wars for Europe, as if what's going on in Ukraine and Russia right now are not tribal wars currently taking place today, as if Bosnia, how you say it, Herzegovina? I don't know how to say it, but if that wasn't an ethnic cleansing and a tribal war, right? So you're absolutely right. They have had access and power and wealth and all of these things for centuries, and they are still going through these destructive processes.
And I have a question.
Yes.
Oh yeah, you got a question for me, or you talking about?
I actually have a question for Queen Key.
Oh, okay. Well, how you say his name? Not is Rian? Go ahead, brother.
Rian.
Brother. Yeah.
Okay, thanks for it. It's a very interesting discussion, and I'm very glad that you, doctor, that you've come and the vets have set up the African American Institute where they are studying the relationship of America and Africa and the influence on the economic situation in Africa. Because I find that we also should have a center from Europe, what the Europeans are doing to Africa and how we, because if you notice, I don't know if you've gone into the economic data, a lot of the exports from South Africa are to Europe. And so they have a lot of our economy is, the economy in South Africa is largely dependent on the market in Europe. And that is, so if Europeans want to change policies in our countries, they just they use the economic power. And I mean, I think you also know, and I think everybody's aware of SWIFT. I mean, if you transfer more than $10,000, the American government knows about where your money is going, to which account. They control that system, and they were trying to block this. They blocked Russia out of that system because of the war. And and what I'm trying to say is, to be free, as you're talking about, you have to be. Freedom is not just being free from being slavery. We also have to be economically free, and you can't be dependent on Europe or America in a large extent for economic wealth and still be free. Europe does 80% of the trade within themselves. So Africa has to start being economically free. Then only then will you be able to be a free person. But until that happens, you will still be a slave to who's ever paying your bills.
Facts. Queen Key. I don't know how we got off on these topics here, buddy.
No, I mean, I'm really enjoying. I mean, I'm really enjoying this. Yeah. So
may I ask one last question before we
all right, go ahead, brother.
Simple. Queen Key.
Oh, he went back on
muted.
mute. You went on mute, brother.
Oh, sorry. My question to you, as a young Black woman, how have you found traveling Africa and finding the spaces? How have you found beauty? Like, as a Black person, not where it's going to be urban culture or hip hop, it's going to be anything like that. How have you found beauty represented, like yourself? You as a person, how have you find yourself represented? Whether it's in a mall, or you are walking through an ad, or you are viewing different things. Like, how have you found yourself, like, as
I love that question. I love that question.
Person, as a young Black person, with all your melanin and everything, how have you found yourself, whether you are navigating whichever space of Africa? Like, how have you been finding yourself?
I've been finding myself just fine through all the countries. No. I found I love that. That is such a beautiful question. Wow, profound question. I found beauty in nature. I think I find a piece of beauty in every country that I've visited. I think my favorite country so far, and I mean, South Africa is beautiful. Don't come at me, South Africa, but Arusha, Tanzania was just so peaceful and so healing for me. I was surrounded by gardens and, mango trees and different things, and just lush mountains. And I find beauty. I found the most beauty there. I found myself, a little piece of myself and beauty in every country I visited. So yes.
That's beautiful. When I heard him ask that question, you know where my mind went? I went to advertising, because your representation as a Black woman is not always represented as beauty in the United States. But walking around the mall today, I am, Josie Gold on here, walking around the mall today and seeing the advertisements of Black women. And I want to say this, and be brown to dark-skinned Black women represented as models, represented as images of beauty, selling the clothes, selling the sunglasses, selling. That's not what we see in the United States too often, unless it is a Black specific product, right?
Right.
Hair care.
And I want to say this. I found the beauty in myself in the reflection of my brothers and sisters that I see here. When I look at my sisters here, my South African sisters, or whatever country I'm at, we are just beautiful people. I don't understand. It's not fair, like how beautiful of a people we are as melanin people. So I love talking with I love talking with an African sister and hearing her accent and learning from her. It's always so captivating. There's so much to learn, and I see the beauty in the reflection of myself and my sisters and in my brothers. We are just beautiful. I just wanted to say that.
And I will not allow homophobia to make me not say this statement. But every day I see a good looking Black man when I look in the mirror. So Brother Josie Gold.
Good one. Okay.
Yeah. Morning.
Brother Asad,
wow.
Brother Asad, just before Josie goes in, I wanted to ask a question to you, Brother Asad. Sorry,
okay, go ahead,
it's gonna be quick. Yeah, I'll try to be quick. Brother Asad, since you're here now in South Africa, I think it's been 2 months now. So what is it that will actually, when looking into the future, let's say you're going to be here permanently, or you're going to be here for the coming 5 years, what will make you, what you suspect that will make you want to leave South Africa maybe before the 5 years, or permanently, if you wanted to stay here permanently? What might change your mind, like so far since you've been here? Something that
what might make me change my mind?
When you go back, yeah.
I to be honest, I haven't come across anything that has been that significant that would make me say, you know what, I need to leave South Africa right away. I think that there are some emotional ties. Josie Go said load shedding. As rough as load shedding is, I have an inverter. It's load shedding right now. My lights on, my internet is working, so that's not it. But it may be some emotional ties, like to my mom or to my dad. When Queen Key mentioned her mom may have some health problems, like I think about that, and those would be the only things that'll make me say I need to return to, I need to leave South Africa and return to the United States. Josie Gold coming up with all kinds of African politicians, crime.
You got all this. You asked the wrong person.
Yeah, I mean, like let's face the facts. Crime, for instance, crime, being a victim of crime, or let me say, witnessing crime in Josie, that's not going to make me leave Johannesburg. I mean, I don't know. Let me not say it might be something horrible happened to me, but in terms of just hearing about crime and seeing crime, or knowing that it takes place in the city, I haven't been directly affected by it. The city that I came from is at least 10 times more violent than Johannesburg. So, and it's smaller. You run into criminals and they right there. So again, the city that I come from is now the murder capital of the United States of America. Full stop. So I'm not. So crime ain't gonna be it. I mean, I want them to get SCOM together. I want them to get this load shedding together, man. Because not that that's going to make me leave, but I had a couple that's in town today, right? They got here last night. They got on the elevator to come down to meet me at a restaurant, and as they're coming down the elevator, load shedding kicks in, right? So they spent the night here. Their first experience in the morning is load shedding, and then they love the city. I took them around and all that good stuff. They loved it.
Brother Asad, the reason I asked you that question and to my other fellow Black Americans who are relocating to South Africa, it's because I don't want you to leave, So this load shedding thing that keeps happening, I thought you might decide to go back to States, So I'm asking if there's anything that could be worse that could make you really want to leave.
It would have to turn to a fallen state, civil war on the street, that level of stuff, that level of stuff. But I do want them to get load shedding together, because as more and more people come, to finish that story. So they enjoyed their day in Johannesburg. They had a great time. We talked. But the very first experience in the morning is coming down the elevator, and the elevator stopping for 3 minutes until the backup power kicked in. Those things they're gonna take that story back to America, and they're gonna be like, "Well, tell us about Johannesburg. Oh, it was great, blah, 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 blah." But I remember the time we got caught in the elevator because of load shedding, right? And it becomes a part of the narrative of South Africa. And you don't want any type of negativity as part of your narrative, Go ahead, brother Josie. Go. What's happening?
Yeah, sir. Greetings. Can you hear me?
Peace, brother. I did get your email, and I will email you back. I was with the people today, so I was moving around, and I didn't get a chance to do it.
No, it's no problem. It's no problem. Greetings, Adrienne. Yeah, and then hello, Queen Key. How are you?
Peace. I'm well. Thank you.
Yeah, I've been following your channel for a while. I think you might have started in Tanzania. I picked up on your journey when you're in Tanzania. Mm-hmm. I think somewhere I followed your journey. I've been watching your channel for a while, and then from nowhere you disappeared. And then
I did not. If Josie, if you were following, I did not disappear. I left a nice little note in the community tab. I didn't just disappear. I definitely let the royal family know what was going on, but and that I was taking a break. So I'm sorry if you didn't catch that message, Josie. I apologize.
Yeah, no problem. So how you been doing so far in Johannesburg?
I've been loving it. I've been at peace. At peace. I've been loving it.
Mm-hmm. So what do you like so far? Is there something that you like? I
think I've been asked that. I love the vibe. I love the culture. I love the people. It's been very peaceful. I'm happy to be back in Africa. I really am.
Now, the languages, have you picked up any? Have you heard
Josie, I just got here.
Just a little, just one.
And I needed about 5 days to learn how to go to sleep at night, because I was still on Central Standard Time in America. But as far as, I think the only language lesson I got was at the airport when I was, and I forgot that already. So what does it say at the bottom of the receipt? Is it Danike? Is it? I don't know. It's supposed to be thank you, but I forgot. Donkey. So I thought that was the young lady's name, and I was like, "So what is your name? Is it Danike?" And she's like, "No, that means thank you." Because usually the names of the you're the person helping you or tending to you is usually on the receipt. I felt super embarrassed. I was like, yeah, let me get it together. But no, I will slowly but surely. I'll pick up on the language for sure.
Yeah, one more thing.
Oh, go ahead, Joseph.
Don Parker says that was for you. I know that guy.
Oh yeah, Don Parker asked. Yeah. What did he ask?
No, isn't he the one that said his crush is finally?
Oh yeah, his crush. Yeah, he said his crush is finally in South Africa, Don Parker. So I don't know. I don't even know Don Parker. But this
Me
is,
neither.
I seen his name on the list before though on the thing.
But we got some questions in the chat for Queen Key.
Okay, find them and let me ask her this.
I got
Queen Key, has anybody walked up to you and spoke like Izulu or something, thinking that you were just a South African?
No,
Not just a
no,
South African, thinking that you were South African. It hasn't happened.
no, it hasn't. It hasn't happened here. But I have mistaken quite a few people to be American. And I thought that was quite interesting. And I actually met a young lady who, like I said, we're going to do a live stream. I think it's going to be a really powerful message just regarding African-American women and continental African women and, that whole thing. And so I just saw her and I could have sworn she was from, somewhere in America. And I asked her, she's like, no, I'm actually from Ghana. Well, I was born in Nigeria and my parents are Ghanaian, but I live here and I've been here for 30 odd years. And so that has happened, but nobody has come up to me speaking the language yet. No.
I've mistaken a lot of people for Americans. I actually did it at Tasha's one day, and the sister was throwing me off because I think she had like a UCLA shirt on and everything. And I was like, oh, she's from America because she looked like it. The shirt was on. And I said, excuse me. And then she started responding with that South African accent. I was like,
wrong.
You're not from America.
Loud and wrong.
Go ahead. The questions.
So someone in the chat wants to know if you've dated at all. You haven't been here that long, but in all of your travels in Africa, have you tried dating while you've been traveling?
No, so I am single. I'm actually most people who follow me on another social media platform knows I'm single and celibate intentionally. So, and I have been for over a year now. So yeah.
Nice.
Good.
And I haven't dated. I mean, it doesn't mean that, when I was traveling, African men, they express however they feel and it's sweet. But that wasn't that wasn't the goal, when I first started traveling. And so I'm more open to dating now, but I'll ease into it when I'm ready. But right now I'm, still getting some things squared away. So it can happen.
Right.
It can happen. But I'm not, it's not a goal. I'm not actively seeking.
Yeah.
Don Parker, you hear that? Yeah.
All right,
Lozy says this sister is beautiful. Hey, listen, I'm gonna start charging Negroes shooting a shot on my page now. This we trying to learn about the sister and her travels and her journeys. Go ahead.
So I had a question, which was, having traveled in Africa for the extent of time that you did before returning to the US, was it a hard transition going back to the US?
Oh, that's a yes and a no. I mean, yes, because I missed Africa very much. And I knew that I was going to miss the continent and I knew I was going back, but, I was still figuring things out as to, me even needing to come back. And so, yes, it was hard for me to do so because I was going to miss Africa. But I think Cape Town kind of helped me out a little bit it's for an easier transition because Cape Town was so modern. I think if I would have went straight from, probably Sierra Leone back, if I had to, probably would have been a little bit tougher. But it was tougher in that, I guess in regard to being exposed back to the racism that is evident in the States. And being that I moved to the suburbs, I moved to a suburb area in Dallas, Texas, and just experiencing that, getting back into the workforce, going back, I was working at a high school at this time. And so going back to work and just experiencing all the things that reminded me why, that when I left and wanted to get out, that was very tough for me. It was so tough. But at the same time, it had its benefits as far as, me needing to be in solitude and do what I had to do and see family. I was very happy to see my mom and my grandma and hug them and smell them and smell that food, they, and just, that whole thing, that was very nice, So yeah, I would say it was definitely a bittersweet. I would say yes and no.
Got
Just
it.
to pick up on that question, Brother Rion said, how are you dealing with leaving your family back in the States?
You know what? Being that I've been independent and on my own for years, even prior to traveling, and I mean, I'm not. I mean, me and my mom, we're cool. Everything's not perfect, definitely still healing, and I'm the one breaking, generational traumas and things and curses and things like that. But we have a decent enough relationship. My family wasn't this big close knit family, maybe back when I was younger. That's when I remember when everybody was living around each other, cousins lived across the street, that thing. But as I got older and started living my life and going to school, and when I was married at the time, I can't say that we were getting together very often and becoming very close. So this wasn't some hard transition for me regarding my family. Now, my mom, I miss very much, a lot. But, we do call each other a lot, FaceTime a lot. I just, that's just my mom, and we have that bond going on, mother and daughter. But for the rest of my family, it's really not that hard. My nieces and nephews, I had my Auntie Kiki moment when they were young. Now they're all, grown up, high school, college, and, beyond. And so it's just time for me to move forward in my journey and find what's for me. And a lot of my healing and things that have happened, even through travel, it's from that. It's from family. It's from past organizations. It's from, things that may have happened in school or certain organizations I work for and certain, relationships that I've had. And so it's healing for me, more than anything. It's not that hard. It's not as hard as you would think. Yeah.
All right.
I got one question from African Queen One Giselle. And
Mhm.
she's asking you, what has been the biggest influence on your healing when traveling to Africa?
The biggest influence on my healing
Mm-hmm.
when traveling to Africa. Africa itself, just traveling. That Africa it was the healing for me. It was even through the culture shocks and having to get acclimated to the way different countries and different people and their mannerisms. That was very healing because it taught me a lot about myself, and it teaches you a lot of patience.
Patience, yes.
It teaches you gratitude. Things that you may have taken for granted, and it shows you just how blessed you are. And the things that we worry about, the things that we fret about as growing up as Black Americans, and just how trivial some of those things are, and to see how they live, to see how they come together, how they don't worry about things, how they survive. And I just think that was the most beautiful thing. I think the families that I've met and have come into their home and they've welcomed me into their family, I think that's been very healing for me as well.
The brother Lozy wants to know about the weather differences in different African places. Like, have you noticed any major weather differences? Is the weather better in one place or the other?
Is that what you meant, Lozy?
Well, I think that's what he asked.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I feel that
that's
depending on different regions of Africa, like for instance, Dar es Salaam in Tanzania could be extremely hot, and then you go to Arusha and it's cooler because they have more mountains, they have more, they're more elevated, and they have the lush greenery. And so I've experienced, say, much cooler weather in Arusha where the mosquitoes don't attack me as much, because the weather's a little cooler and it's beautiful. Yeah, I mean, there's different weather. I mean, it's funny because we look at Africa and it is one continent and it is one place, but obviously there's different places and there's different countries. And so you're going to experience different types of weather depending on where you are geographically on the continent.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. So somebody asked, what brother? Yeah, go ahead, brother Lozy.
I'm going to leave. I just said I thought I should say goodbye. Sorry, I have to leave.
Thank you, brother Lozy. Always a pleasure.
Right.
So brother Rion asked, I may be misquoting what he said, but he said, what attribute did you have to give up from the U.S. when you got to the continent? And I want to say this. what attribute have you developed, which you have to give up in the US? I don't know, but let me try to answer that question for myself.
Oh,
Can I
okay.
ahead,
Yeah.
Go ahead, brother.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
So, what attributes or characteristics of your personality did you have to give? Did you develop or refound since you've come to the continent that you found that you
Okay, I was
treat
gonna say
yourself at?
develop, yes. Develop, give up. I don't think I was that bad off to have to give up something. Develop. I've developed a lot of patience. I say patience is the biggest thing. I've developed a lot of patience and just gratitude. As far as my personality, I've become more, more calm. I guess you could say more calm and more patient and more understanding and more open, more open-minded, because there's a lot of different cultures and a lot of different things to learn and to take into consideration depending on which country you're traveling. So it's always good to be open-minded. You can't come ready to judge or ready to give your strong opinion on something or think you know what the answer is to someone's problem, the solution to this or that. I come to learn. I come here not knowing anything. I think there's a lot of, I've seen, even in the YouTube space, a lot of different Americans, who feel they know the answer to Africa's problems. And, they come here with that mindset. It's like, you don't know, nothing. And I know, and when I come here, I knew that I knew nothing. Teach me, ABC 1, 2, 3 me. I know nothing. And so I come to learn.
I wanted to answer that question too, if you don't mind. I had to learn patience because I'm not a patient person. I don't know if I've learned it, but I am more patient now than I was before. And it's stuff like I had to go to the bank and it took me maybe a good 3 hours in that bank, right? Like dealing just the wait. It was load shedding. It was a pace that was much slower. And I know that they're heavy on like app banking. So, but going to the bank, for instance, if that was a States, I might have flipped some stuff over. I just, what I'm saying, like, why is this taking so long? What is the problem? But I just like,
what?
Yeah.
I have a video that's called, I think it's what is it? The thing I'm recommending, I don't know how many, if it's 10 or 20, but I'm talking about tips and things you should know before traveling to Africa. And it's kind of the COVID edition. And in that I talked about, because I think the young man's asked me about attributes. So yes, I've developed a lot of patience, and just understanding and having an open heart, because I too had an incident at the bank. And I was telling, people that, when you come to Africa, you're going to experience cultural differences and they are going to do things much different than what we think, being brought up in the West, things should be done. And when they do that, you're going to have a lot of questions and you're just probably going to look at them like, why are y'all doing it like that? That could be done so much easier. And you sit back and you let them do things how they do it. Maybe you can offer up some help, if they, advice or whatever it is, but you have to take a humble approach. And I had an incident at the bank. I think I was somewhere in Arusha, and the way they do business, the tellers are just doing their job. It's not so organized. Everything isn't going to be so organized and polished the way we know it in the West. And so they're not looking at the line and saying, okay, that young lady was next. Somebody just kind of walked up to the window. And I say in the video, what are you going to do if that happens to you? You going to show out? No, that's not what you're going to do. You're not going to show out. I just had to politely, wait for that person to be done. And someone else tried to come up in the front and I just had to walk up, and you do things in a civil manner. You let them know, look, I was here. There's a line right there. Try to go in that way for me. And, and you just do that. And they understand, it wasn't any issues. There was no problem. And you just gotta hustle. You gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. Certain African countries. And I would say I wouldn't expect to maybe experience something like that here, but definitely in certain rural parts of like maybe East or West Africa, you can experience a lot of things that are like kind of disorganized, and it's just not the way we would do things. But I've learned to develop a lot of patience and a lot of understanding.
Yeah. And Josie, I'm gonna get you.
Sorry, can I just
go ahead, brother?
Oh, sorry. Let me rephrase the question. It was a great response, but I think I didn't articulate myself very well. What I was trying to say is, which attributes do you find that you rediscovered that coming to the continent of your own personality that you had to give up?
Oh, that I rediscovered. Okay. So any attributes that, okay, I'm sorry about that I rediscovered since coming. Oh, that's a that I rediscovered through my healing. Maybe my worth as a melanated person. I don't think, and I think somebody else may resonate with me who may be from the States, you know, with what we've been through as Black Americans, but you know, just how rich, you know, we are as a people, as melanated people, and just my worth as a person, how important I am, how worthy I am of things of this life, and just how beautiful of a people we are, or I am. So maybe that, I mean, that's a really deep question. I would have to even meditate on that more. That's a really beautiful question. Y'all asking some deep questions. Yeah, I ain't even in. I ain't got the time to meditate or no, but that's really beautiful. But I would say that I've done a lot of healing in Africa. So yeah.
I want to come back to that question, but I'm gonna let Josie jump in here. He had his hand raised.
Hopefully I answered it.
Yeah, okay. Look, I'm not sure if people have asked you this, but are there any other places you'd like to visit while here outside of Johannesburg?
You mean any other African countries, or
No,
is that?
I mean outside of Johannesburg in South Africa.
Oh, you know what? So yes, I've done Cape Town, and I'm here in Joburg. You know, there's actually a place, I don't know the name of it, but I think the Khoisan people are there. Do you know?
People? You mean the Northern Cape or something?
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm still learning, so be gentle with me, okay? But I think
I'm not sure. Sorry,
the
sorry.
Khoisan. It's okay, but I think it's the San tribe of the Khoisan. I want to go and visit the tribe while I'm here, but of course I would need to know someone who's, you know, was born and raised, you know, in that area or from here. So yeah, I think I'm not sure of the actual location. I don't have the name of it right now, but I believe I was looking it up, and it's Khoisan. So I know the San tribe, so it's the Khoisan people, and wherever location they're at, which I know is, I'm sure, outside of Joburg, I would love to visit. I would love to visit there.
All right, okay. Thanks. Look, I hope you enjoy the rest of your stay over here. So
yes,
okay, thanks for having me, Asad, Queen Key, Adrienne. Thank you. I have to go. Bye.
All right, no problem, brother. Thank you so much. I know it's getting late. We've been on this thing since 8 o'clock. It's almost 10.
Oh.
Yeah. Wait, is it what time is it? Yeah, it's almost 10. But it's been great conversation. We didn't cover all kind of stuff. We didn't cover masculinity, femininity, beauty, healing. There's been some themes here. There's been some themes, and I think brother Breon been with us the whole time. I'm gonna put his name in the title.
I'm saying.
But but I think the question that he asked and the response
that battery lasted a long time too.
Yeah, he found a plug. He found a plug.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
I'm at home now. I'm at home.
So the question about rediscovering parts of ourselves, I think that's challenged me, because I gotta see what part of myself I didn't know in the United States that I may learn about, and because I know where the changes have taken place, because again, patience, like aggression, right? I'm in a whole different city. I'm not about to be aggressive with anybody, because I don't know who's who the gangster. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna talk very simple. Yes, sir. How can we resolve this matter? Like you say, yeah. I'm not gonna be aggressive with anybody. because like coming from our environment, I guess this goes back to that Black masculinity talk, hyper masculine. At times I can be toxic in terms of like that aggressive, right? You're not gonna play with me. I'm always on, and it's always up. But so yeah, I want to discover parts of myself, like, well, damn, I didn't know that. I like X, Y, and Z. I've noticed that the brothers here are uh like you can talk to just about any brother and realize that, man, they're really up on like geopolitics, that they're well read and well learned, because that's not I'm not saying the hood brothers. I'm talking about people with graduate degrees in the United States. Brothers not always well read. They may be experts on whatever they studied in school, but that's it. They're not up on what's going on in the rest of the world or even in the rest of the country. They know what they know, and that's it. I've talked to Uber drivers here and I've had more profound conversations with Uber drivers about like I said, geopolitics or the workings of the United States, or even the workings of the ANC here in South Africa. Than I've had, with many people who we would consider like very smart, highly intelligent, and very educated, or whatever have you. So, man, we have been on 2 hours.
Can I just say something quickly?
Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I think the privilege that Americans have is the fact that the world is around America, and so Americans are within themselves, and the world bows down to the hegemony of America. So everybody else has to know American politics and history, not because they want to, but because America controls everything. So it's not so Americans.
Excellent point.
Yes.
That is an excellent point. Some of this knowledge may be based on necessity, whereas the United States is we have the privilege of being uninformed.
I think that's a powerful statement that he made. I'm sorry to interject, that we are within ourselves, like as if we are of ourselves and full of ourselves. And it just sounds so much like the United States, when I hear him say that. And to go back a little bit, what he was speaking on as far as rediscovering, and to piggyback on what you said, Dr. Asad, I really do feel as if also I learned that I was adaptable. I didn't know that I was as adaptable as I was, even in the military, when I was sleeping in the woods and waking up with bites. I don't know what them bit me and different things. It was still an experience, having to use buckets to bathe, and not having electricity, and how to adapt to that, and how to just how to improvise and live without certain resources that I was so used to having at my disposal, back in the States. So being adaptable, is definitely another thing. But that was really deep, having to everything being around the States, and you have to know,
not having to learn other languages.
Right. Watch this. Watch how this also plays out in terms of redefining. So I was having an interesting conversation with a brother, and he told me he thought that all Black Americans lived like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, the Cosby Show, and rich, right? So, and he said even when they would show quote unquote the hood and the poverty, it's like a brother playing the PlayStation with, sitting in the AC room in the house. And he was like, oh, that's poverty. I'll take that any day over coming from like, a shanty town or, whatever have you. So that made me rethink, oh, well, yeah, if, for us, when we look at it, like, man, them people poor, man, they live in the projects, they got roaches in their house or whatever have you, but they got AC, they got lights, they have television, they have couches, different,
even if it's provided by the government,
right? Running water and all of that, even if it's provided. So that poverty has to be contextualized based on the country which you're in. So yes, that is poverty in the United States, But to someone else looking at that, he said, we'll take that poverty any day.
Mm.
Right? Boy, isn't that something? So then I guess that at the root cause of that statement is appreciation, right?
Mhm.
Even though I ain't never
Yeah.
lived in no projects, I don't know nothing about that. Yeah, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? I ain't know nothing
yeah.
about I don't know nothing about
I
that.
hope to never know anything.
Yeah,
about
yeah,
that.
no, I don't know nothing
I
about
think
that.
that's difficult to for people that haven't lived in first world countries to understand that, because you know, I've lived in the third world and I've lived in the first world, and you know, trying to explain to people, you know, uh it's hard out here. You know,
Yeah,
you know, you know, you think we're earning a lot of money, it looks like a lot of money, but you don't know uh, what the expenses are, and you live in the expenses are ridiculous, and you know, you have to pay for certain, and those, by us, it's the blue envelopes that we always hate. Those are tax envelopes that you
yeah,
always you know, I mean, and you know, you try to explain to them, you know, and it's very difficult because they see, yeah, you're earning that kind of money, but they don't, you can't picture something unless you live that reality. So it's difficult to bridge that gap sometimes, to tell people, you know, yeah, it may seem like we have a roof over our head, but we're sinking under the circumstances, under the stress that you have to go through, and all these things.
mhm,
And I think you probably experienced that, the slowdown going down, being in Africa, and the less stress that you've had, and probably you feel that you're even eating much healthier, and you feel much, just by being there, you feel much happier, just not even meeting the people, it's just the atmosphere is different, I think.
absolutely,
Mhm, mhm.
absolutely. I would definitely say I am the least stressed that I've ever been in my life. I will say that that's 100%. I don't know about eating healthy. I've been eating at Tasha's every day. So and yeah, so I don't know. I've been eating lamb chops and yeah, so I don't know. But my stress is down. There is a certain awareness of your blackness that I don't have here, right? I just feel like I can be anywhere and be fine. I'm not gonna get strange stares and looks, and even if it's subconscious, those subconscious feelings. Sometimes white folks don't even give a damn about you. Is you feeling that? You know what I'm saying? Is those are feelings that you are having from years of being aware, hyper aware of your racial category. But I don't have that feeling here. So yeah, I'm more relaxed. I'm calm. I tell people that if Johannesburg was in the United States, it would be a 24-hour city. 24 hours, 7 days a week pumping. Just all. It's not that. It is
Yeah,
a
it's
city
not
that does shut down about 8, 9 o'clock.
It does go to sleep.
It does go to sleep. Yeah, it does go to sleep. William Nicole be packed during the day. 8 o'clock, it's dead. You know what I'm saying? Now maybe that's just this area. Somebody let me know if Midrand and Water. I know what they're gonna tell me. The townships stay popping. They will tell me that the townships stay popping or whatever have you. So Queen Key. I guess I should have said this 2 hours ago. Please let the people know your YouTube page.
I mean, that's all right. It's my name, the Queen Key. So
Okay.
you look up the Queen Key. That is my YouTube page. I always say, only if you resonate. You come over and you resonate with just how I vibe. I'm a very chill person. We just travel. We just, it's very motivational, inspirational, just good vibes, So if you resonate, if you don't feel like you resonate, you don't have to be there. I don't want you to be nowhere you don't want to be.
Queen Key, my people from Florida, because you from Florida, right?
That's South Florida. That's it.
Yeah, they from Tampa, right? So I don't know. I don't know how far that's from where you. I only know South. I don't know nothing about Florida.
Tampa is more West Florida. It's this whole thing, with Broward and Dade County. We kind of don't like to include other people in South Florida if you ain't from Broward or Dade County.
Okay.
We don't even adopt West Palm Beach no more. No, but yeah, all of I have relatives that live in Tampa as well. My cousin and his children, they're there as well. So much love to Tampa. Yes, it's
all right.
It's a couple hours away, not far. It's almost like taking a drive to Orlando, just about 3 or so hours away from, depending if you're coming from Miami or Broward in South Florida.
So on Thursday, we supposed to link up Thursday night and go. I'm gonna send you the name of the place. You should
Okay.
join us.
Yeah, what's
I
the
don't
name?
know.
I couldn't get out today. I am sorry, but what is today? Is today Tuesday? So Thursday.
Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah, day after tomorrow.
Okay. So
You know.
okay.
I don't know why I just said it's day after tomorrow. But I'll send you the information and we all link up and we'll have us a convo, you know. So any closing remarks?
No, thank you, Dr. Asad, and thank you, beautiful, beautiful sister Adrienne. I really appreciate, just chatting. I would say this divine, meeting here is due to one of your subscribers. I mean, I just got here and everybody was Dr. Asad, you need to go check him out. I'm like, Dr. Assad, what, what? So, and I go and I look and I'm like, okay, this is nice. As long as it was positive, I dealt with a lot of ratchetness, not me, myself per se, but, I was very close knit, I would say, or I was in that whole African diaspora movement back in 2020. And it was just, you had your people who were really good and are positive and doing great things. And you had your mess. And because I'm very introverted and I don't participate in, those low vibrational things, I had to really learn, who was who and what was what. And so I do get really skeptical when it comes to meetings. I usually don't do those things. But then when I went and checked out, I was like, oh, what a lovely family. Yes. So definitely want to get subscribers.
I guess same as you. If you resonate.
Yeah.
That's it.
If it resonates, cool.
No, we definitely try to keep it positive. People try to draw us into the mess every once in a while. They try to, but I got a real PhD, so I might talk a little ignorant here and there, but I ain't stupid. I'm like, you ain't finna draw me into that foolishness. Let me show you how you swerve this. Let me show you how you swerve that real quick with this. What do they call it? Response, but not an answer. Yeah.
There you go. And just all love and motivation, inspiring people to just travel other lands. Even if it's not Africa, get out of America, travel and explore and find yourself, get some healing, expand your consciousness. And that's what I'm all about. So,
Facts.
Awesome.
Facts, man. It was a wonderful conversation.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, I'm sorry the part of the middle went to somewhere else, but we brought it back.
No,
like
I
drink
loved
champs.
it. I loved it. I had a
We
wonderful
will do it
time.
like drink champs. And that Kanye interview, Lord have mercy. Shout out to Nori and Kanye for that interview. It's going to be talked about for the ages. Thank you so much. I've got me a piece of red velvet cake that I need. I'm about to go to sleep. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna finish up my night here. So thank you guys. It's been wonderful. Thank you to the Asad and Adrienne family, YouTube family. I